Hi, I'm Kylie Moore, Principal of BPT Private Tuition in Vanilla. Recently, a really great article was brought to my attention, so I wanted to get online and talk to you about it directly. I'm going to leave a link in the comments so you can read the entire article. I've got a small extract of it here, but I thought it would be really great to talk about what we do and why we aren't part of the fatal private tutoring that's talked about here. So the article's called "Be Very, Very Careful. Experts Raise Warning on Private Tutoring." Now, the first problem that they talk about is the out-of-date teaching that focuses on the grind of learning, that focuses on the disconnect, that mechanical churn of information on a syllabus that must be programmed into a child. So I thought I would start with our focus, because our focus is very, very different. We focus on the why. Why are we learning this? Why is this relevant to you as a student and as a person? In the office just last week, I had a parent who sat in on a maths tuition course and was sitting there going, where were you when I was at primary school? Where were you when I was trying to find out why they were drilling this into me? So it's really important that at Vanilla Private Tuition, we focus on real-world application. We focus on how the English text that they're reading, the maths that they're using, how the core principles that underscore all of this information is part of what they need to be intelligent learners in a modern society. And the word rote comes up in this. Now, the word rote has negative connotations. People talk about that it means mechanical and without understanding. If you look it up in the dictionary, there's a lot of negative information about the word rote. But basically, what a lot of us understand is rote just means to commit it to memory. Now, the lingo nowadays in schools is committed to memory, but pretty much it's just rote learning, that you practice something over and over and over again until you know it, such as times tables. So yes, rote has negative connotations and we don't use that in that word anymore. The lingo is commit to memory, but it's really important, I would say, that rote or committing something to memory is a really important part of learning. Say, for example, I've got a new student that only came on board during the holidays. He's had 2 sessions. Within those 2 sessions, he has memorized all of his perfect squares up to 15. And he's memorized his divisibility rules. Now, that doesn't seem like a lot to people who aren't doing maths, but that's going to make Pythagoras so easy for him. When all of the other kids are reaching for their calculators, he'll know it off by heart. And I'm encouraging him to learn these things, to put the processes in place at home in his independent study, to make sure these tips and tricks are going to set him up to feeling more confident in the classroom and to get the work done easier. Now, the other thing that this particular article talks about is that people can be worried about a tutor having the wrong model. And my company doesn't have a model. My company is just individual tutors doing what they do best. And so the parents don't have to worry about the program that we're using or the model that we're using, because we literally have a mentor or professional sit down with a young person and diagnose the holes in their knowledge and build up those core foundations so that child is then confident and resilient and happy and working independently. That's what we do at Vanilla Private Tuition. And some argue that school teachers have a better at teaching than tutors because they're in the schools and they have PD. But my professionals do have PD because they go back to their schools and organisations and continue to develop at both ends. Because tutoring is actually really amazing at PD. I have a tutor who works for me who, when she first started, said, yes, I'm qualified up to teaching in high school, but I don't want to because I'm not that good. She is now flourishing and teaching right up to year 9 and loving it. Her new thing is maths, and she is actually going out and finding new tips and new tricks and new things to share with her students, because it's amazing how much you can learn by diagnosing individual problems, not just looking at the textbook and following a course. So I would encourage everybody to have a read of this. Then there's some questions. This is why I have notes in this one. There's some questions that say to ask a potential tutor. So the first question we have is, how will you relate maths to my child's experience? Now, as for example, with the boy who started with me during the holidays, we contextualize his understanding. I'm not just talking about perfect squares and Pythagoras and that kind of thing. I've been talking about what he does on his farm at home, what kind of things that he can use maths for, and his divisibility rules were actually explained when we were talking about moving cattle. So we make sure that he knows why he's learning the information, and then he's happy to learn the information. So we also have a summary book that we work through, and we make sure that that summary book has everything written in his own words, not copied from the textbook, not photocopied and pasted into the text, to the summary book. It's literally written down exactly as he feels it resonates with him. So when he uses that in his independent study, it's himself talking to him. He's like, oh yeah, that's how I did it. So the next question that this article asks is, what strategies will you use to help my child improve? So basically what I've already talked about a little bit is that we go into exactly what the gaps are in an individual's knowledge. We diagnose specific problems and we give them confidence by reaffirming the foundations of these core skills and making sure that they can go confidently back into the classroom with all of those holes filled up and know why they're applying the information that they're applying. The next question that asks is, how do you cater for a range of learning styles? Now, this is something that I'm really passionate about, especially because I developed this company just for me, and then I've taken on tutors as we've gone. We were up to 12 tutors, but then that recently has dropped back down to 6. Now, this is for a variety of reasons. Some of it's health related, some of it's pregnancies, some of it's people who just didn't suit, people who didn't match my mission and my vision for this company and the values that I try to instill in the message that we're getting across. So what we do to make sure that we cater for a range of learning styles is I have absolutely brilliant tutors who have been hand selected, who have been gone through a process where I know who they're going to work with well. And so we match up tutors and students. And sometimes we change them around a bit until we find the perfect match. And parents and the children involved can have a say in who they want to work with as well, because lots of the people who come to our office know lots of the other tutors as well. So it is a perfect match, and it makes sure that we're specific to the needs of that particular child. Then the last question that this article asks is, what are you doing to improve your own skills? And I can absolutely vouch for the fact that every tutor who works in my company works on studying every week. We all study our profession in detail every week. So whether that be going back to the schools that they work in and teaching, whether that be at university level, but whether that be workshops and courses that they're doing alongside, whether that be reading and reading and reading with every spare minute of the day, which is where I go because I'm with the VCE English and Literature and I have a stack this big of all the books that I have to read. But we're all studying every week, ongoing, to make sure that we can give our best to these children. Because my company is not about churning out a program and learning something by rote. It's about dedicating and making connections with young people, empowering individuals with intrinsic change. So if you have any questions or you'd like to pop in and see us, feel free to do so, or pop some comments down underneath, or private message me. I'm available on lots of the socials, and there's other videos that can help at kyliemort.mortenterprises. Thanks for watching. Hope to catch up with you soon.